are getting practical. Real world answer to question every single business owner in Nigeria is dealing with right now. Questions of how do I manage my costs intelligently in this economy? How do I manage competing demands on cost without compromising quality or losing customers? Those are the questions I believe every business owner in Nigeria is dealing with right now. And this evening, we will be delving deep into that. Before I go ahead, let me take just about 2 minutes to connect tonight's section to where we have come from. In the first edition, we had an interesting section discussing cash flow basics and money management. We learned that profit and cash are not the same thing. And one takeaway I can recall right away is the fact that a lot of businesses die due to cash shortage and not necessarily due to being profitable. That is a very deep thing. And in the second edition, we went deeper into budgeting and financial forecasting. There, we learned how to build the written plan for our money and project the direction our business is going. That was quite insightful. And tonight, we are going deeper. Yes, I now have a budget as a business owner. Yes, I can see my costs clearly on paper. Yes, I know the direction where my business is heading to. The question now is, how do I manage this to achieve profitability? And that is exactly what our speakers will be delving into this night. So we go into the next section. I would like to take this moment to introduce the two exceptional practitioners who will be guiding our conversation this evening. These are not people who have read only about businesses. They have lived it, they have built it, and they are still in the game. Our first speaker tonight is a strategist, a consultant, and a practitioner in supply chain and procurement management, one of the most critical disciplines in business cost management. Director Gbenga Odosanya brings deep expertise in understanding how goods, services, and money flows through organization, and how to make that flow leaner, smarter, and more profitable. Director Gbenga Odosanya, we are delighted to have you with us. You are welcome, sir.
Thank you, sir. Good evening, everyone.
Thank you. We are glad to have you with us. Director Gbenga, sir, in your words, can you tell us a little about the work you do, sir?
Okay, thank you, Gbenga. Well, it's a privilege to be here, and I'm grateful. My work sits at the intersection of supply chain, procurement, operations, and business strategy. So I help organizations and businesses to understand where money leaks out of their operations and how to redesign processes so that they can become leaner, faster, and more profitable. So if you look at Nigeria today, many SMEs are not failing because demand does not exist. They are actually struggling because inefficiencies are silently eating these margins due to poor inventory planning, maybe expensive procurement practices, energy waste, and so many other factors. What I do is to help organizations build smarter systems around sourcing, inventory, distribution, supplier management, operation, and decision making. So, and the truth is this: in today's economy, cost control is no longer just an accounting function. It's actually a survival strategy and a competitive advantage. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir. We are blessed to have you with us this evening. And moving forward, our second speaker wears two titles. She's a chef and also a CEO, Mrs. Lillian Akiswaya. She's the CEO of Crescent Foods, which means she manages costs, she manages staff, suppliers, customers, and quality, all at the same time, every day, in one of Nigeria's most challenging and competitive sectors. Meaning she's not here to give us textbook answers. She's here to tell us what actually works. Chef Lillian, you are welcome to Isaac Forum.
Thank you for having me. Good evening, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us. We are glad to have you. So going forward, Chef Lillian, in your own words, please tell us a little about the work you do, ma'am.
I'm Lillian Akiswaya. and you can call me Chef Lee. Uh, very corporate background. I work at in the kind of business sector. So for us or for me, I'll say that we don't just cook, we design experiences, we engineer systems, and we position food as a cultural and commercial asset. So my work is not just about being a chef. And there's this misconception that chefs are just cooks. It's no longer the same. It's no longer like that today, especially when you're a food business owner, you're building and creating systems, right? So my work is about shifting the narrative from a chef, right? And from a chef to a creative and also a builder. So the things that we stand for, that I stand for, is that food is not just what we eat, it's what we sell, it's how we scale, and it's how we use it to shape our culture. So I approach every menu, every brand, and every experience like a product, intentional, structured, and built for impact. In a space where many are still operating traditionally, we are focused on the remix. We are blending Afrofusion, business intelligence, and pop culture strategy to create not just relevance, but influence and profitability. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chef Lee. We are in excellent hands tonight. Thank you so much. So without wasting much time, we go into the sections. So we'll be taking opening statement from each of our speakers. So the first one, I will be speaking to Director Benga. So Director Benga, you work at the intersection of supply chain and business strategy. From your vantage point, what would you say is the single biggest cost control mistakes Nigerian SMEs are making right now? And what do you think they should be doing differently?
All right, sir. Thank you for the question. I would say the single biggest mistakes Nigerian SMEs are making today is managing costs reactively instead of strategically. So because we live in an economy where it's very dynamic. Many years ago, you heard the word VUCA environment, but right now I think it's not even super VUCA, right? Things are very dynamic, the numbers are changing per second, and we can't afford to react all the time, but to sit down and put strategy into place to be able to manage these shocks. Most businesses only respond after costs have already gone up. They react after diesel increases, after exchange rate rise, after inventory expires, or after suppliers increase their prices. This should be envisaged in our current environment. I know it's pretty difficult, but to have a sustainable business build around that anticipate pressure before it arrives. The second major mistake is that many small business focus only on reducing expense instead of improving efficiency. And there are many ways to improve efficiency in terms of managing the business. Because if you look at the external factors, right, you have the Naira depreciation that happens and it's still happening. You go to market yesterday, today, price has changed. Credit is expensive. If you are running your business on credit, it's very, very expensive. Borrowing cost is high. You also consider your fuel and your energy cost, which most people don't do. Petrol and diesel, no thanks to the closure of Strait of Hormuz and the war in the Middle East, and also the persistent inflation. Let's forget about the numbers the government are brandishing all around. We all know the real inflation numbers when we go to the market, right? And of course, the customers, you cannot also be increasing price. It's very hard nowadays within the market. The only real solution is to cut costs intelligently without cutting quality. And this is the major challenge. For example, a company may reduce staff to save money, but lose productivity and customer satisfaction, right? While another company may, instead of improve inventory planning, they reduce waste, negotiate better supplier terms, digitize your manual process, and even save more time without damaging operations. All right. And some of these initiatives are there. Now, there's a recent report about energy and logistics in Nigeria and also raw imported materials and inventory losses that has happened. It is being said that some manufacturers have seen an input rise of over up to 200% within 2 years due to exchange rate volatility and inflation. And all of us here can attest to that. So what should SME do differently? First, three things is what I'll just highlight here. Number one, you have to know your numbers daily, not monthly. What do I mean by numbers? You know your cost, you know your cost inputs, your cost drivers, you know where the leakages are, you know the pricing competition in the market. These things should be at the fingertips, very, very important. Then secondly, I would say build systems around procurement and inventory. This one is a long haul because for manufacturers amongst us, you understand that procurement and inventory are very, very key and very, very vital because they determine your price. No matter how efficient your processes are, how your buying power and inventory you keep can affect. If you buy too much inventory, you tie up your cash and your cash flow becomes very, very low, right? Then also, there's a mentality that you also have to treat cost as a leadership discipline, not just an accounting exercise. Meaning you as a leader, you as the owner of the business, you are the number one cost manager. You don't leave it to your staff, you don't leave it to your accountant. You are the number one cost manager. The SMEs that will survive in this environment, I dare say, are going to be are not necessarily the biggest businesses, and they are the ones that are the most disciplined when it comes to cost management. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. You've spoken about so many things: the digitizing manual processes, negotiating better prices with suppliers, building efficient processes around procurement and inventory. I mean, those are very, very deep things. And the last one, which you mentioned now, has to do with treating cost as a discipline, and the owner of the business needs to lead from the front. Thank you so much, sir. That's quite insightful. So I'll move to Chef Lee now. So Chef Lee, ma, you run Crescent Foods, a real operating food business in Nigeria today. Cost control for you is not academic, it is survival. What it is like in managing costs in the food sector specifically, and what has been your most effective strategy? Chef Lee.
Okay. Um, okay, I'll begin by saying that managing cost in Nigeria's food sector is a constant balancing act between volatility and value, right? You're dealing with unpredictable market situations, prices, fluctuation in the energy costs. You're dealing with supply inconsistencies, and at the same time, you have a customer base that still expects quality and you know um, and great experiences like on a daily basis. So cost control is no longer cost control is no longer just operational now. It becomes something that is deeply strategic. All right. So for us, or for me, the shift for us was moving from reacting to costs to designing systems around them. And our most effective strategy so far has been intentional system design across three levels. The first one is menu engineering. All right. So I really hope that for my line of work, our experiences will cut across other industries, like other sectors like fashion, and all the other industries, right, as SMEs here. So I hope that this really helps. Well, I'm going to be streamlining it down to my own space. Yeah. So first of all, is menu engineering. So we don't just create dishes; we build them for flexibility, and we build them for cost control and margin. So from the beginning, from the inception, you have to infuse cost. You don't put cost at the back end. You don't create menus off edge, right? Or say, okay, it's gonna be rice, and it's gonna, let's use akara. You don't say the menu is going to be akara and we're going to sell for 10 naira. And then tomorrow you have done akara, you sold for 10 naira, you find that you did not even make any profit, rather you incurred more cost, right? So before the creation of the menu, before you decide it's going to be akara, you have to know everything that is going to cost to make akara, right? So cost control, cost is from inception, from the beginning, you infuse cost. And then ingredients are cross-utilized, portions are structured, and every item is designed to deliver value without unnecessary cost exposure. Honestly, cost can be reduced in ways that you wouldn't even expect, because I believe that, or from experience, when you don't document your costs, right, you find out that the system or the environment is not the issue, it is the internal system that is the issue. So cost can be controlled, cost can be managed, cost can be reduced. Our second is operational efficiency. We batch our production, we optimize energy use, we structure our workflow to reduce waste across time, to reduce labor and resources. So we are not just saving money, we are running leaner systems that help us reduce costs, both intentionally and unintentionally. All right. The third one is the value-based positioning. So we don't just price based on cost alone. We price based on experience, based on brand, and based on perception that people have about us. Yes. So that is also an angle. So that gives us room to protect our margins, even in volatile environments like we are facing right now. So the real insight is that in today's food business, we don't control cost by cutting costs. You control them by designing systems where every decision is intentional. And honestly, what works for me may not work for you, right? So you have to be intentional. You have to sit down. You have to look into your business and see the areas where you can control costs, where you can reduce costs. And I find that there are so many unnecessary costs. If something is not working, you take it out. There's no need to manage it. There are things that can be managed. There are things that can be observed. There are things that should be totally taken off. If this is not giving value, if it is not giving back value to my customers, if it is not benefiting my business, why do I have it? Please take it out, right? So these are the ways to, you cannot just be, how do I put it? You cannot just be one kind about your business. You have to be serious about it. You have to be strategic about it. Like, the economy is not even joking right now. So if something does not work, you just take it out of the business. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ma. Thank you so much. You've said a lot. You spoke about moving from being proactive, moving from being reactive to being proactive with regards to cost management. That is something that is very, very good.
Very good.
Also, you mentioned the fact that cost needs to be built organically. And one thing which Director Benga also mentioned was the fact that know your numbers. Know your numbers, meaning you document your cost. You have a clear documentation about your number, your business, your cost, and all that. And also, you mentioned the fact that you don't manage your cost by cutting it. Design a system around it so that it can be profitable and you can actually give value to your customer. Thank you so much for that insightful words. And we'll be moving on from here into the Q&A section. And to our audience, we'll be going to the Q&A section now. If you have a question for either of our speakers, please type it in the chat. Then we will read them out for the speakers to do justice to them. But while you are doing that, I have some questions here which our speakers will deal with right away. I hope that's fine. So I take the first question. This goes to Director Benga. With the Naira under severe pressure now, and important good costs now have escalated, especially in the last few years, how should Nigerian SMEs be rethinking their cost structure, and where should they start?
All right, thank you, sir. So the first thing all of us must understand is that the old cost structure is gone permanently. It's not a temporary fluctuation anymore in Nigeria as we speak. Businesses must redesign their operations around a high-cost Nigeria. All right. I mean, you can look at what has been happening in the political terrain in the economic terrain and even the world business at large. So all of us are still pricing, and some are still pricing and buying and planning as if exchange rate will eventually return to old levels. From where I see it, I don't see that happening now. So we accept that reality, and if you don't change this mindset, it may be dangerous. So where do we start? Okay, now let's say we are reviewing our costs. I want to break it down to be more real, right? So we have what we all know as fixed costs, our rents, staff salaries, insurance premium, loan repayment, subscription and software. The books will tell us that to renegotiate or restructure, right? But if you look at it, can you really renegotiate your rent if you are paying rent? You want to renegotiate with your landlord to reduce what they call it, the rent. Even Lagos State government is fighting landlords in Lagos now to manage rent pricing, and they've not been able to succeed for the past 10 years. You look at staff salaries, you know you cannot pay below 70,000 naira. That is for the lowest staff that you have. And even insurance premiums have gone up, all right? Loan repayment, high, high NPR is out there. Then all your subscription, I'm not going to use software, everything is gone up. So you cannot really renegotiate this. It's very tough. So you now have to dive into what your variable costs are, which is some of the things highlighted by Chef Lillian, all right? You look at your raw materials, you look at your packaging materials, you look at your generator of fuel. I'll give you an example. While I don't directly run a business, my wife runs a business. Although I give her consulting services, she has never paid me, but that's fine. Now, in where our store is, our perfume store, I'm using this as a practical example, right? The owner of the place, he was put on an MYD transformer right now, this big transformer, right? And she realized that she was paying more than 100,000 naira a month for electricity, right? And what did she do? So we put our heads together. How do we reduce this electricity cost? So we did an analysis and benchmark what we'll be paying in 3 years versus if she totally go off grid on solar. We put the cost down and we spread it over 3 or 4 years and realize that we'll be reducing electricity cost by almost 50%. All right, and that's what we did. She cut off from the grid, even bought what they call it inverter AC, and everything right now is on solar. All right, and that is, yes, the needed cost is high, but if you look at the longer range of that investment, you find that the ROI is very, very good. And these are some of the ideas and initiatives we should bring into our businesses in the current economy of Nigeria. All right. So what do we do going forward? I tell people that it is essential that they must identify which costs are truly strategic and which are simply habitual. All right. I've mentioned some of the strategic costs. The habitual ones are mostly what people call the variable costs, in which you can manage. How do you achieve some of these costing? So number one, you have to learn how to eliminate waste. I would advise you do an audit of your last 3 months' expenses. Look at what you spent money on. You can even do it for your own self. How you spend your money for the past 3 months. You categorize all the lines. You will see some waste. I dare you to do it. You will see some waste, right? Then you batch your purchasing, all right? You make sure you consolidate what you want to buy. You don't buy at impulse. You batch it so you can have proper planning. I think Chef Lillian already spoke about that. Then you have to look at your staffing models, all right? You may consider a part-time staff or negotiate someone that can work 2 or 3 times hybrid, or you can even get an NYSC. All right, the government is looking to where to push those corporates. You can get an NYSC, train them for a month, and you get value for what you want them to do for you. You can also outsource your non-core tasks. your delivery, your bookkeeping, your IT support, your accounting support. You can outsource. You can get an accounting support that will probably cost to, like, let's say 40,000, 50,000 naira a month versus you hiring an accountant that you have to pay maybe 150,000. So there are middle class
Could
accounting
you stop that?
firms like that, right? That they, one of them, I have about 10 clients, is collecting 50K each from them. That's 500K income. You might want to start with one of those to manage your accounting. So these are many other activities, what we put in. Like I said, the economy, the pricing, the numbers, the inflation, and energy costs, they're not going to come down drastically. They're still going to be there. So what do we do as a business owner? We have to now be strategic in terms of our costs. All right. So it's pretty difficult, I know, but once we are monitoring these numbers, trust me, ideas will come on how to manage. I just told you the one about inverter now, which has reduced the electricity bill of my wife's business. And you can also look into your numbers. I'm sure you find ways to reduce some of this cost. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. So much has been spoken within these few minutes. Spoke about waste, eliminating waste, like a war on waste. And this applies to everybody, not just businesses, to everybody, right? And one thing you spoke about, which has to do with procurement, batch purchasing. You spoke about staffing model, energy cost management, looking at the long-term value of costs in terms of ensuring profitability. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir. The next question I have goes to Chef Lillian. And the question is this: in the food and consumer good business, energy is one of the biggest invisible costs, with maybe IKDC, diesel, gas, and all that. How have you managed energy costs at Crescent Foods? And what practical advice do you have for SMEs that are cost bleeding on power currently?
Okay. All right. So energy cost is not a utility. It's not a utility issue. It's not how much you're buying, how much power you're buying. That's not energy cost. The real energy cost is an operational design problem. All right. So if there is anything I want us all to take out of this meeting today, it's going to be two things. We have been talking so much, and you hear across both speakers talk so much about and strategy. Design strategy for every business at every level. Design and strategy come to play, and you see that this is a framework that helps to structure your business. Okay, so for me, I'm not just a chef, and I'm not just a food business service provider, right? I build food brands for companies and all of that. And when we look at the framework of the things that we do, it always comes down to design and strategy. And you pay so much to go and learn design and strategy. Now, coming down to energy, I said earlier that energy cost is not a utility, an operational design problem. So, keyword here, design. All right. So, energy is one of the most invisible but aggressive costs in the food business, whether you like it or not, because it's not always tracked per product, but it directly impacts your margins daily. You cannot put a number to it. You cannot read energy. You cannot, but you can manage it. You can put controls around it. For us at Crescent Food Catering, we had to shift our thinking from consuming energy to designing around energy. That mindset change was key for us. How did we go about this? We approached it with three core strategists and strategy. The first was operational restructuring. We moved from scattered cooking to batched production. We grouped similar processes so we are able to maximize heat cycles and reduce repeated equipment use. Right, that alone cuts down unnecessary fuel and power consumption for us. I hope that this explanation innovations we cut across other sectors, right? I don't know any better way to put it than this, because this is just my line of work. So secondly, we have to focus on energy conscious menu creations and design, right? So we became intentional about what we create, not just from taste or aesthetics perspective of it, but from an energy perspective. Some dishes are high energy, but low impact. Like, you use so much power to produce this thing, but at the end of the day, it's not selling so much. Why do we have it there? So we redesigned our menus to deliver the same experience but more efficiently. The third thing we did was we controlled our equipment usage. So we treat equipment like assets. Equipment for us, they're assets, right? So everything has a timing, it has a sequence, and there's a purpose. So any there is no idle usage. So we don't want to, okay, take for example, we want to bake bread by 1 p.m. And we know that, okay, at 4 p.m., we also need to make meat pie, right? So the same energy consumption for baking bread is the same for baking meat pie. So what do? We had to we had to design the system in which we can only produce so and so type of food at so time. So now it's not for us to communicate to our clients, oh, you can only have this at this time. You can only get this at this time. And if you want us, if compulsory, of course, there are situations whereby you just have to, right? Now we're going to charge you for extra hours. And if that is not gonna fly, the second thing we do is we have to increase the quantity of what you do. Say you want 10, just an example, say you want 10 burgers. We know that we cannot make any profit from making 10 burgers, given the kind of ovens that we use. So our minimum order quantity will now become 100 burgers, so that it can accommodate the energy use and we can also be profitable. So these are one of the ways that we control equipment use and we control energy. All right. So there is nothing that is idle. There is no random switching on and off. Everything is structured. You don't just turn on an equipment. No, you will pay for it. So as you do these things as a business owner, ensure that you are carrying your team members along. Ensure that everybody around you knows what they are to do and how they are to do them. All right. And the result is simple, right? We didn't just reduce costs, we improved operational discipline. In fact, this helped us in identifying our real customers, not people that just come maybe once in 2 years. We are able to streamline our customer base, and this is just from reducing energy cost and all of that. So for SMEs, my practical advice would be that start by auditing your processes, not just your bills, right? Look at how much energy you use. Look at what equipment consumes the most. Okay, another practical example. In my kitchen, I have about 3 ovens. So what I did was, we used to have just electric ovens. So last year we changed them. We still have our electric oven, but I can tell you that we have not used an electric oven in like a year. We have been using the gas equivalent of it, right? This one now, they were very, very expensive as we were purchasing them. But in the long run, they have become so, I don't even know how to put it, like there's no cost on it. Like, we have outused it and we still continue to use it for the next 10 years. Like, there's nothing that's going to be there's nothing that's going to be wrong with it, right? So you need to build up on that too. What equipment consumes the most? Anything that you can just take away, take it away. The economy, I don't know. I don't know if it's going to go back, but I know that it's only going to move forward. So you have to just move forward with the economy, whether you like it or not, as a business owner. All right, then where you are repeating processes unnecessarily, you just cut them out. Nothing should be repeated unnecessarily. That is why you need to have designs, you need to have systems and structures. So the next one will be to implement one simple shift. Batch your production is the easiest entry point into energy efficiency. It delivers immediate results. So at the end of this whole thing, energy cost is not just a utility issue. Like I said, it is an operational design problem. The way you work will always determine how much you spend. So if you want to reduce energy costs, you redesign your process. All right, thank you.
Thank you so much, Ma. You've spoken about operational design, having a strategy around operations. One thing I heard you spoke about leveraging on economies of scale, optimizing costs, not necessarily cutting costs. And one other thing you spoke about, which I believe is very instructive, is the fact that carry everybody in the team along, meaning everyone needs to understand the strategy and understand how they contribute to the success of that strategy. Thank you so much, Mark. That's quite insightful. So we'll move on quickly. Another question for Director Bingham. Sir, supplier negotiation is a skill most small business owners have never been formally taught. In an environment where markets are volatile and relationship means everything, how does a small business owner work into a negotiation with a big supplier and actually get good terms? How can that be achieved, sir?
Thank you very much. This is my core area, and I usually do trainings on negotiation skills. And the first thing is negotiate everything. Everything you negotiate. And you find out that you have been negotiating all your life in your house. You've negotiated with your son, your daughter, your wife, you negotiate every day. And most of the time, when we get into the business environment, we forget that we're actually negotiators. What happens is that there are different caps to wear when you are going to the negotiating room, depending on who you are negotiating with. All right. But I won't go into all of that today. But the first thing is this: negotiation is not about asking for cheaper prices. That's one mistake most SMEs do. Okay. It's actually about creating value and reducing risk for both parties. So we are bringing a value to the table. Understand the value you are bringing to the table and sit on that value and represent that value very well on the negotiating table, even if you are negotiating with a big organization. In negotiation, there's what we call um, the buying power, the one that has the balance of power. Sometimes the balance of power will not tilt to your side. What do I mean by that? So you are negotiating a particular product that probably is very scarce, and this is the only vendor that has the product. The balance of power is on their side, not on your own side. So in that case, you have to look for creative things and benefit to put on the table to still be able to get something out from that table. All right. Generally, small business may not have the purchasing power of a large corporation, but there are still some things. Okay. For example, some things to leverage on. Consistency of orders is a leverage. All right. We are discussing. Okay, I'm buying maybe 40,000 every month or every week. I'm going to be consistent for the next 6 months to buy this actual volume, minimum volume. This is what I'm committing to. Most sellers, they want to hear news like this. Okay, so that can give you a form of leverage, consistency of your orders, and you also have a faster payment cycle if you pay on time. Present it as a value. Like, I'm going to pay in 7 days. If I'm paying in 7 days, what are you going to offer me? Always request for something when you put something down. Always. You know, our mothers in those days, they always ask for jara when they go to the market. After they bought the jari, they say, put jara there. I still do it today. I ask for jara, anything I'm buying, whether in Nigeria or I'm buying anything outside the country. All right. So please, always ask. If you don't do giveaways, always ask for something in return. If I'm paying if the payment time is 30 days, if you can pay in 15 days, what do I get? You give it, put it on it. Very, very important. You also provide long-term relationships and leverage. All right, you present this is not going to be a transactional relationship. This is going to be a long-term relationship. Then that also is something you put on tape. You can also look at the purchase history. Okay, but when it comes to the actual negotiation, first, they never accept the first price. Never accept the first price. Okay, I say again, never accept the first price. Always negotiate. And one thing I like to do is that once the negotiation has started, I always want to provide first move. So meaning that that first move that I'm putting on the table, the conversation will start around that. Even though I may know the cost price or the selling price, I put a move on the table and the conversation will start around that. And that gives you a form of power when you start your negotiation. And you must also know your best offer. They call it partner, the best offer that you offer an alternative. What you are willing to pay. That you say, if this does not work, I'm ready to work. You should always have that before you go into any negotiation. All right. Then you also have to ensure that in every negotiation you prepare before you enter. All right. Like I said, you said the opening number. You can also trade concessions. So in terms of concessions, when you put something on the table, you ask them for something. And when you want to walk away, mean it. All right. When you want to walk away, mean it. Don't do like when we go to Ingo market, you walk away from that person selling jeans and you are using one style to look at the whether the man is looking at you. You can't use that style on the negotiation table when you're negotiating with a corporate organization, right? They won't call you back. So when you mean it, you go. But understand, if you are buying a product from a particular supplier, always have alternatives, 2 or 3 at the minimum. Okay, that also increases your negotiating power. If one is not playing ball with you, you can always move. And there's nothing absolutely wrong with that. Okay, don't negotiate one item at a time. You bundle everything together. If you have 6 things to negotiate, put everything on the table at the same time. And let's talk about it. Okay, negotiate the price, you negotiate the delivery terms, you negotiate the payment terms, you negotiate a reorder volume. When it's order coming, you put everything together. Don't just negotiate the price alone. In that case, you'll be leaving money on the table. When you are doing that with a corporation, they have a strong way of bringing an hammer on you. I do that always when I'm negotiating on behalf of the organization I've worked for, and we are talking to a vendor, So I always have a hammer on my hand. All right. But sometimes you need some very smart small business, and they come to you and they put some offer on the table that you cannot refuse. So it's about preparing before you go into that negotiation. It's a different case. You are going to a shop to buy something. I'm talking about you had a meeting with an organization and you want to buy your product, or you want to have some conversation business meeting. You prepare before you go. You also ensure that don't give anything for free, and when you walk away, mean it. Like I tell people, negotiation is an art. Is an art that we build and we train on to be able to get the value. Someone say negotiation is win-win. Sometimes it's not a win-win, right? But you leave the table making the other person feel they won. And that's the concept behind negotiation. Everybody is leaving the table having an idea that, okay, I've won. I wanted to buy this at 10 naira. I'm able to buy it at 8 naira. Meanwhile, I've given a commitment to the other party to buy 100 packages in 2 months. That's a feeling of a win-win. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir. You said something. Negotiation is not necessarily asking for a cheaper price, but it's about adding value. That is deep. And moving on quickly, our time is fast spent. I will just move on. We have a couple of questions, but I will just put out an open question to both speakers right now. Many SMEs in Nigeria operate in the informal economy, meaning they don't have formal accounts. Some of them don't have receipts, no cash in hand transaction. No receipt, they do cash in hand transaction, sorry. Can cost control strategies still work for them? Or do they need to have a formalized business before they start controlling their costs? I don't know, maybe Chef Lillian, you want to go first before we have Director Bingham. Or maybe Director Bengasa, anybody can go first.
Okay. Um, Cost control in an informal economy. Mm, yes, cost control in an informal economy, but they have to be simplified and flexible in such a way that it's not about complex systems, it's about visibility and discipline, and as well adaptability. You control what you can, like portions, like waste and process, and you build on flexibility. You build flexibility around what you can't control, like pricing and supply. So, in an informal economy, cost control is not about perfection, it's about discipline and then smart daily decisions. So for me, I would say that cost control fall under four boxes, right? There is high impact, high return. If there's high impact, high return, you invest. Very straightforward. If there is high impact, low efficiency, you can optimize. If there is low impact, high cost, you eliminate totally. If there is low impact, low cost, you may monitor, but then these things can compound, and you just see that there's so many operational leakages. In fact, if there's low impact, low cost, if you cannot monitor, then you cannot manage. All right. So if a cost drives quality, if it drives revenue, you can invest in it. If it's not necessary, for me, I would say that cost management is not about spending less, it's about spending right, right? And if it is minor, you monitor. That's how you can stay profitable without experiencing.
Thank you so much, ma. I think that's huge, and I think there's a question which I would like Director Benga to take for us. The question says, with the advent of AI, how can we leverage this technology for efficient cost management? Director Benga, sir.
All right. So yes, AI is new. Everybody is still getting used to AI and learning AI. If I were you as a businessman on this platform, I will learn. I'm not saying become an AI guru, but please learn the applicability and the functionalities of AI as they affect your business, which is very, very key. All right, so if you look at the business right now, what AI is trying to do is bringing every information into a machine. All right, every information you can think about, just any information and every is bringing into the machine, and everybody has the access to go into that machine and pull information. And AI will also interpret this information for you. So in your own area of business, the first thing I'll ask you is that get information. All right, get information. AI can also predict what is going to happen in a line of business in the next 5 to 6 years. What is going to happen? What are other people doing in the global realm right now regarding your own business that you are doing locally in Nigeria? Remember, the whole world is a global village, right now. So that information is extremely important. You have to embrace AI. And how do you apply it to your business? Like I said, get the information, very important. How does it apply to your business? Secondly, what will happen to your business in the next 5 to 10 years with the introduction of AI? You have to go in and learn it. So it will affect how you now structure your business currently to be able to work with AI. Okay. I can't go deep into that with you, but the most important two keywords I would say is that learn it, know how it's going to affect your business. Whether you are a market trader, you're a food vendor, you're a fashion designer, people are designing stuff on AI right now. All right. People are building, sketching a house on AI right now. So if you're an architect, you're into business, you have to go and learn it. You put some information into AI, it will design a house for you. All right. Video editors, you don't need to be a video editor as for now. Okay. So I'll give you an example. The program that is coming up, the men's conference, the video you saw, I put the information on AI, on ChatGPT. Okay, this is what I want to see. Give me this background. It developed a 3-page video sequencing document, and I gave that video sequencing document to the media team of Asudon David, and they produced that wonderful video. So someone will ask me now, am I creative in that area? I'll say no, but this is what AI has helped me to be able to achieve. You cannot imagine the tremendous things AI can help with your business. Embrace it, learn about it, try your hands on it, and it will get better. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. Our time is fast spent, and I will just take the closing question. Finally, to our speakers, if every SME owner listening tonight woke up tomorrow morning and did just one thing differently to control their costs better, just one thing, what would that thing be? Director Benga and Chef Lillian, maybe Director Benga first, in 1 minute.
Okay, so this is what I would say. If you cannot measure it, you cannot improve it. And if you cannot improve it, eventually it will control your business instead of controlling it. What am I saying? Measure your numbers, know your numbers, measure your cost. That's what I would say. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Chef Lee, let's have your thoughts, ma'am.
If there's one thing I would tell SME owners, know the exact cost of every product you sell, because once you have clarity on your numbers, like make better decisions and you become profitable. You cannot control the cost for what you don't understand, right? So know your numbers and what else? I think that would be all. Thank you. And I'll just also say that you cannot run your business on vibes, right? You run your business on data, real data. You get data, you collate data, you get the right information. And about the artificial intelligence, right? AI will not do the work for you. It can only show you areas where there are leakages. It can only point you in the right direction. At the end of the day, you still need to do what you have to do. Make sure that your business is scalable and profitable. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma. Thank you so much, Director Binga. I think what I'm hearing now is know your numbers, take objective decisions, take responsibility for your business profitability. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We still have a couple of questions. Unfortunately, we've run out of time. We will not be able to take it, but we would like to thank everybody for joining. Thank everybody for joining and for the questions and your contributions. On behalf of Isaac Forum and the entire household of David family, I want to sincerely thank you, Director Benga and Chef Lee, for investing your time, your experience, and your wisdom into this community tonight. You've given us tools that we can use immediately. Thank you so much, ma. And sir, at this time, I will invite our Director Sheyi, to give us the closing remark. Director Sheyi, ma.
Thank you, Minister Benga. Thank you, everyone on the call. Utmost thanks to both Director Benga and Chef Lillian. It's been a wonderful class. So if you agree with me, everyone, that it's been a good use of our time, can we show them some love? Use the emoji. Let's just keep it rolling. Let's keep it flowing. Thank you so much. Honestly, I wish we had more time because there seems to be a lot that you have to share with us. I believe that very soon, when we are rounding the financial management series up, we have a little bit more time to close on some of the interests, that some of us still have on this topic, because it's very important for our businesses in present day Nigeria. Thank you so much. I like to encourage us all, even if you sat and through this class and you listened attentively, believe me, you didn't hear everything. So the iForum team will share the recording And I want to implore you to please take time to go over it again. I want to believe that by the grace of God, if not the things that were directly spoken, there will be something that will unlock ideas in your mind, to make your business better. I trust God that the inspiration for us to rise above the challenges facing our businesses, will come to us by the grace of God. Thank you everyone for your time. Thank you, Mr. Binga, for coordinating. It's been a very, very wonderful session. Out of respect for our time, we will end, the meeting now. Again, thank you. Thank you so, 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 so much. God bless you and may his hand be upon your business. Over to you, Mr. Binga.
Amen. Thank you, Ma. Thank you for your closing remark. And I would like to take this opportunity to invite you. We are having the last edition of our financial series next month. We will be discussing accessing finance, loans, grants, and investors. This is something that is very deep, and please watch out. We'll be sharing the announcement on our pages, and we look forward to having you. Please invite your friends and your colleagues, and let's be a part of what God is doing here. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much, everybody. Minister Paul, can we have a closing prayer? Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. Just before we take the closing prayer, a link to the chat, in case you are not on the iForum community, you're not in the iForum community, a link to the chat has been dropped. Please do click on the link and you can join there. We have a lot of conversations that goes on there, updates and other things that will benefit you and your business. Let us pray. Blessed Father, we thank you for this successful event. We are grateful because indeed we have learned. We have learned, we have come to your table, we have heard the words through the voices and the vocal cords of those two wonderful ministers through which you blessed us with. We are grateful because every single business owner, career person, salary earner will have learned and will not only be a hearer but also a doer of that which they've learned. That we will all go back to our different locations, businesses, and sit down to put into practice the things we've learned. And at the end of the day, we will come back with glory to your name and with testimonies that indeed we've learned how to control our cost and we are better positioned to be profitable for the sake of the kingdom. We are grateful, Lord, for these things we've heard, and may your name be glorified in Jesus' name. Thank you, blessed Father. We give you all the praise in Jesus' most precious name. We give him thanks.
Amen. Amen. Thank you, everybody, and have a good evening. Thank you, sir, very much.
Thank you, sir.